Hey there, sweet friends. I hope you are all well. Welcome to day 11 of our 12 Days of Christmas in July tutorial series. If you're just joining in and you want to get caught up, you can find links in the description. And don't forget to listen throughout the video for the question of the day. Today we're going to be working with a paper crafting kit from Hobby Lobby. We're creating this folio. This winds up to be so large, so thick and chunky, and I am so excited. Now this is an album that you can add as little or as much embellishing as you like to make it your own personal style. But for the inside, I have this with 7 two-page layouts. So there is a ton of room in here, and I'm just using the paper from the kit as well as the ephemera pack. So you know that you're going to get all of these lovely pages. And then if you like, you can add some dimensional embellishing on the cover. Okay, friends, this is the Vintage Christmas Paper Craft Kit. It is from Hobby Lobby, and this is the first thing that I got when I started collecting for this series. And so all of the papers here, the ephemera and the sticker sheets are included, and I had intended for this one to be my use it up project, but I can show you what is here in this collection kit. A lot of pieces of cut apart ephemera. There's 2 sticker sheets here and 12 pieces of single-sided paper. So this is what I have left after creating the album today. So I did not conquer this challenge, but I have just enough to make some maybe Christmas gratitude cards or random act of kindness. The whole sticker sheet is left, and that is because it has clear on the back. And so I didn't want to have to stick it down and cut it back out for each of these pages. So I'm going to reserve this for a future project. And then all of the alphabet stickers are here as well. I have 1 full sheet left, 1 piece of that ephemera pack, and a little stack of offcuts that I can incorporate into this cards that I mentioned. And because I intended to use up this entire collection, I decided that I could have a larger size of a folio. I don't normally go for 8 inches high because I'm really trying to use my paper frugally and get the best use out of it, but I really wanted to knock through this whole collection. So what I did was I decided on my size, and then I cut all the papers so that I knew how many 2-page layouts I was going to get. Then once I had that cut, I used the offcuts as layering elements, and you'll see that in just a minute. And then once I had all that out, see, I had this spread out all over the kitchen table, so all the pages were working at the same time. Then I took that ephemera pack and I positioned each one and I moved them around so that I could get a nice combination and have a arrangement for each of the sets of pages. So let me show you how this looks now. I brought this downstairs very carefully, and it did shift a little bit, but you can see how I have my paper cut. That's the background. The offcuts became a layering element. And then for each of the pages, I also created some ephemera arrangements that could go on. So I'll just flip through these. I put them on a sturdy cardstock so that I could move them downstairs. And I think this one might be my favorite one, but you can see when I got down to those little bitty strips, I was still able to incorporate that as a layering pattern. These are quite large pages, by the way. It's going to be 8 inches high by 5 inches wide. So you're going to get some good size pictures on here, I think. And I am just balancing these ephemera bits and arranging them so they work together. This stripe came from one of the frames, and I just cut the ends of that off so that I could have a different pattern for this page to separate the base and my layering pattern. This one has just a little bit of a strip at the bottom, and then I did arrange quite a few of those ephemera bits here to create a nice stack. Some of the pages have the layering pattern going horizontally. Some of them have them going vertically, and this page is going vertically. And then this is going to be the front and back cover. So off camera, I'm going to prepare by taking all the paper tape off of these. That way I can just work along and we can speed that part up and have a little music to listen to. So let's work on the base now, and we'll start on the inside. I have my green cardstock here. It is cut to be 8 high by 10 wide and scored at 5. And you can see off camera I did add my double-sided tape there and pulled the backing off, and then I've also added my layer of Tombow, so we have our 2 glue combo. I have my Post-it notes here. This keeps them in order, and then I also indicated on this one which side I want the score line to be on, and you'll see how that works in just a bit. So I'm going to pull this, and then I'll line these up along the bottom right into that corner, keeping it straight and level. Along the bottom and the side. And I'll pull this one over and repeat that process. Because we have single-sided paper, this fold will work perfectly to accommodate the bulk of the paper that we're adding inside. So here is the side for the left, and I'm going to keep my score Post-it note here so I know exactly where it's going. And then I have prepared one over here as well. And so this one is going to open toward this way. And both of the score lines are going to wind up in the middle. Typically, here's where I would work on the cover, but I want to add my pattern papers first so that I know exactly how much bulk we're going to get, and then I can arrange for the amount that we need to incorporate into the spine so that we don't get too much of a wedge. Wedge is okay. I like wedge, but want to have it not too much wedge before we add all the fun stuff inside. So let's work on the inside pages now. So because this is going to open outward and I want these to be in 2-page layouts, I'm going to flip the first page over and begin here. And I did mention earlier that I pulled the tape backing off camera just to save us a little bit of time. When we get to the pattern paper pages, these are the full-size pages, it's 7 7/8 by 4 7/8. And we're going to get a nice border of that green cardstock. And then every other layer that we add will just be from offcuts. So you can decide if you want to add those or not. But I think it's a nice way to get a lot of detail from this same collection pack. So I'm just going to work along and get these covered. And while I'm doing that on the first side, I think it's a good time for the question of the day. So let me know in the comments, what is your favorite brand to work with for the holiday? So it has to be like a paper brand, not just a collection, or a die brand, or a stamp and sticker brand. So I will say for myself that I'll pick, obviously, Simple Stories for my paper. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. I really, really like the Greetery for dies. I have quite a lot of those. They're perfect for layering. And so I'm not talking about ones that would be like a nested circle set or maybe even stars, but something specific to the holiday so that, you know, you're getting a use out of that to make your festive projects. And then when we get to stamps, I will say probably Hello Bluebird is my favorite. And I do enjoy marker coloring. I don't get a whole lot of time to do it, but I do enjoy that as just a way to be creative. And then I can add those little bits that I've colored and cut out to my greeting cards. So let me know in the comments, what is your favorite brands to work with for the holidays? And now I'm just going to continue to work along here, and I will speed this up a little bit because it's just me plonking layers on as I go. And so I will give you a little bit of music to enjoy, and then I'll meet you back here when we get to the other side. Got my first section all filled in, so let's just flip through those real quick. I did have a nice time distributing all of the ephemera pieces around and creating some 2-page layouts. Time to move into the second section, and you can see I have added a Post-it note to my hand to remind myself to turn that camera back on. After day 9 of Lily trying to make a cameo appearance and my forgetting to turn the camera on, I do think this is going to be helpful for me going forward. Just a little nudge to say, turn the camera back on, because otherwise I might forget. Okay, so that's going to be it for our second section. I have these all filled in with all their layers. So I'm just going to pull my Post-it note now, and then this one as well. So even though these are 2 separate sections, they're going to be together. So I'm going to treat these as a 2-page layout as I go along. And so I'm going to just continue to work all of these paper layers on. And I think up to this point, this is a pretty easy project to do. You won't need any specialized tools or any of that. So if you want to take along craft or something where you just want it to be simple and not having all of the supplies in your craft room with you, I think this would be a great take along craft up until you get to the cover. And then you can decide if you want to have a sweet and simple style or all in with the embellishments like I'm going to do, but that is where you can have as little or as much layering and details as you like. But you could totally create this with just a paper trimmer and a scoreboard. See, I got ahead of myself there and almost added that upside down. I am quite surprised at the quality of this kit. Of course, these single-sided papers are a little bit thin, but for the ephemera, I was quite surprised at the quantity that was in it and as well as the quality. There were many, many, many pieces there, and they were all very large for the most part. Like sometimes when you buy ephemera, you'll get a couple of good big size pieces, but the rest are teeny tiny. So I think that this was a great kit for that. I'm going to keep putting these together so I can keep them lined up. I'm adding this one at the top, and I'm going to cover up the sentiment there with a couple of these bits just to kind of get a nice layered look. And then for this side, there's quite a large arrangement, so I'm going to just plonk in the ones that go toward the back first and layer them up going outward. A couple of the tags. A couple of the stamps. I think this is the page that got the most of those, but that's okay because this is going to be the one that's sort of right in the middle, so it will be most noticeable. So this has a pretty poinsettia and then a couple of holly and berry branches. So I'm going to create my usual L or corner arrangement to cover all the ends that are here, keeping all those fragile bits inside the border. Okay. So here's where we're going to decide how much of a spine depth we need to work on our cover. And I think when I have these pressed together that we will be good with about 1/2 inch. I originally had planned to do 1/4, but now I see that we have quite a bit more bulk than I anticipated. So I have my scoreboard here and then my additional piece of green cardstock. And I have this already trimmed to be 8 inches high. So I'm going to come in with my first score. Remember our pages are 5 inches wide. And now that I'm looking at this, I think I'm going to go into that 3/4 space. So let's go 5 inches and then 3/4. That way we can add a lot when we're finishing up this with our pictures and all the other details that we want to add. So what I want to do first is add some double-sided tape. I pulled that backing off of my tape, and then we're going to add our Tombow. And then flip that over. And bring these corners together. And that will go right on up to our score line. Give it a good press so you've got good contact. Fold up that on the score, and then fold this score as well. Repeat that glue process over here with the tape as well. I'm flipping that over, and for this one I'm going to fold up on that last score line and rest this into it so that I know I have the exact amount of space I need for that spine to work properly. And then I'll come back in and just clip off the excess. Let's add the pattern for the back. And pulled a little bit of that lime juice stitched satin ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon to tie my bow. So just tack that into place. Sandwich that between the base and the pattern paper for the cover. Here's my layering pattern. So I did add these to another border with the green cardstock, and I popped that up on foam tape. That's just going to go right in the middle. Makes this cover even more sturdy, so that is nice. My die cut doily. I put this a little bit lower. I have one additional element to add to the top. So this was one of the ephemera bits, and it did originally have a notch on both sides. I just clipped that one off so I could put it right along the straight edge of the pattern paper. I'm going to bring these elements in here real quick to make sure that I'm leaving just the right amount of space that I need for that to show, as well as my focal image. So that is the last bit of my ephemera pack here, just a little postcard with a cardinal and holly berry pattern. So that's just going to go right here. I did put that up on foam tabs as well for a lot of dimension. And then instead of having one flower arrangement, I do have enough room for two because this is an 8-inch high folio. So let's just add these here. I've got my magnolia flower from Really Reasonable Ribbon, a Made by Me flower, and the regular trimmings and die cuts that I usually put more of that beautiful lime juice ribbon. Just going to angle that along the bottom. Before I attach that one, I'm going to put a couple of these sweet little charms. They're just little snowflakes in some decorative ovals. And then I'll cover those cut ends of the string with the second flower arrangement. So once we get this tied up, we'll be all done for day 11. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure you come back tomorrow for day 12. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check the description for links. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.